Thank you very much. I also have an announcement that I would like to share with the community. At the last meeting of the school committee on August 24th, we heard an extensive presentation and engaged in lengthy discussion about culture and climate issues at Easthampton High School and across the district. The superintendent presented to us and to the community several reports, including the findings from her own investigation into matters related to racism and other forms of bias at the high school. Most importantly, Superintendent Bollensby laid out a 10-point action plan that serves as the beginning of a 3-year plan to help ensure that all of our schools are safe, welcoming learning environments for every student and adult, free of bias based on race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, ability, nationality, or any other form of identity. Since then, the superintendent and her team have continued to put those plans into action. And the superintendent will be providing an update on those plans later on this evening. But I'd like to say that it is unfortunate that we did not receive the report on the findings from the Attorney General's Office investigation prior to our school committee meeting on August 24th. Instead, the report was released to the press the very next day, even before it was shared with the school committee or the superintendent. We consider it very unfortunate that any member of this community had to read about that report in the newspapers instead of hearing about it from us. Since then, the Attorney General's Office has apologized to us for the way the report was shared. On behalf of the school committee, I want to take a few minutes tonight to say a few words about that report, in part to clear up any misinformation conveyed in the press or in the community. First, and most importantly, the entire school committee and the superintendent take the findings in the Attorney General's report very seriously. We were shocked and upset when we read that report. While it did not contain new information, the severity of the language used and the way it was presented was disturbing to all. We are particularly troubled by the investigators' findings that there were disparities in how disciplinary matters were handled based on a student's race or ethnicity. Just as troubling are the findings about the extent of bias-related incidents of bullying and harassment taking place and the lack of urgency to report, address, curtail, or prevent such behaviors. It is incumbent upon us, and by us I mean school administrators, district leaders, and yes, the school committee, to accept responsibility for any wrongdoing that occurred in the past. If these incidents were as widespread as the Attorney General's report describes, we let down the students entrusted to our school district. The school committee acted immediately and thoroughly when we became aware of the situation, but it is clear now that the situation had escalated significantly before we were even aware of what was occurring. We cannot undo what was done. All we can do is take every action necessary to make the school stronger and safer moving forward. That includes ensuring that any gaps in policies, procedures, and protocols that led to the escalation are closed for good. It is also important to underscore what the Attorney General's report did and did not conclude. It spelled out a number of interventions that the school and the district must undertake immediately to rectify the situation, and we have signed a memorandum of agreement that outlines those very steps, including extensive training in bullying and harassment prevention, review and updating of conduct policies, and ongoing monitoring and reporting of disciplinary incidents, to name just a few. Some of this work is already underway. We have asked the superintendent to provide periodic updates to the school committee and the community about implementation of the action plans, and we look forward to the oversight and input that the stakeholder advisory group will provide. We have asked the entire Easthampton community to join with the superintendent and the school committee in moving forward and putting all of our energy into the changes that are critically needed to get this right. We cannot do so, however, if we remain mired in the past and entrenched in a blame game. The Attorney General's report affirmed that we have a solid plan in place and provided us with the autonomy to execute the plan. It did not cite any violations of the law. It did not recommend discipline or termination of any staff at the school or district level. In short, it stated that Easthampton Public Schools has both the will and the capacity to ensure that mistakes of the past are not repeated in the future. Therefore, on behalf of the members of the school committee, I want to reaffirm tonight what I stated on August 24th and on numerous other occasions. We are an organization devoted to learning. It is not only students who learn in our classrooms, we are all learners, including parents, teachers, staff, administrators, superintendents, and school committee members. Let us all recognize this difficult, the difficult, often painful lessons of the past year as opportunities to improve and grow as individuals, as a school district, and as a community. The Attorney General, Maura Healey, had the following to say, quote, "We thank the Easthampton School Committee, Mayor Cadger, Superintendent Vallensby, Police Chief Alberti, and the people of Easthampton for your shared and clear commitment to ensuring a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students. We appreciate your full cooperation in our process and offer our congratulations as you begin the new school year in this positive way." Unquote. We hope all of you will move forward with us as we work to ensure that every school is safe, supportive, and welcoming for all. And now I'd like to move on to correspondence.